What is going on with Void Knight's armor? It's looking a little limp. It's okay, Void Knight. It happens to the best of us. Welcome back, Ranger fans. My name is Robbie. You're watching Geek Level Asian. Let's talk about Power Rangers Dino Fury Episode 6, Superstitious Strikes. I'm going to divide this video into categories, and those are the overall plot, mecha formation, monster of the week, what I dig, what I don't dig. Don't forget to like this video so that it can be shown to more Power Rangers fans like yourselves. And without further ado, it is morphin' time. Let's do it. So as for the overall plot of this episode, it's definitely an episode that's focused on Amelia, the Pink Ranger. And we find in this episode the apple does not fall far from the tree. Her Pop-Pop, who we meet, he is a neighborhood janitor? But basically, he is just as superstitious as she is, if not more. So you can clearly see where she gets it from. So obviously the conflict of the episode is very much wrapped up in Amelia's superstition. And one of the most common superstitions that we grew up with is, don't walk under a ladder, which is exactly what she does in this episode. And then from then on, she at least perceives things as bad luck throughout most of the rest of the episode. Which leads to what we call a rising action in literary terms, meaning the conflict basically gets worse, she gets separated from the rest of the team, and they're basically fighting without her, because to her, she believes that she's bad luck and she shouldn't be out there with them, which leads to more problems. The mecha formation, again, this is a Pink Ranger episode, so we get to see the Pink Ranger focused Megazord, which is the Dino Fury Megazord Ankylo formation. It's funny because I was introduced to the Ankylosaur or the Ankylosaurus in Dino Charge. I had never heard of it before, and I was a really big dinosaur fan kid when I was a kid. Like, when Jurassic Park came out, I was like a Dilophosaurus guy. Which, now that I think about it, that would be an awesome shield. In regard to the Monster of the Week, I don't remember if he actually had a name. Like I said in my last video, they're not really introducing the Monsters of the Week. Normally, like they used to in other seasons, they kind of just show up because they're sporic species, and they kind of just like hatch like an egg, kind of. But the first thing that I notice about this sporic species is he really needs some Biore Poor treatment, if you know what I'm saying. Like, I get blackheads, but that guy's got a crater face. The other thing that I noticed that was interesting is that when you're looking at him, he looks like his face is coming out of a zipper fly. So I'm just gonna call him Crotch Monster. So now let's talk about what I dig, the things that I liked about the episode. I really like that Amelia learned a lesson at the end of this episode. Because to me, her character was probably the most unrelatable and, in my opinion, the most unrealistic. People are superstitious, but to be as superstitious as she was, at least, is a little much. Like, it's very rare that people can function in society when they're that superstitious. So it makes sense when she realizes that luck is basically just a perspective and how you perceive your world around you. Something else that I liked was I liked that they addressed how you make a morpher and that it's limited, that you can't keep doing it. Solon has to make Amelia another morpher after hers gets destroyed in this episode, and she talks about a circuit board, which is not a circuit board that you can get on Earth. It seems like a RAFCON circuit board, and it's the last one. So I liked that they went into the mechanics a little bit about how morphers work. They can be mechanically built, but they need to be made from some type of resource that does not exist on Earth. Which I'm noticing right now, like, that does beg the question, like, how do they make all of the other ones in every other series? But whatever. So now if you follow me on Instagram, this next point you might have already seen because I posted a little picture about it when this episode aired. But my favorite line of this entire episode was the "Okay Boomer" line delivered by Izzy. Because I like how they worked in a Gen Z, Gen X, millennial dig while still making it contextual because Boom Tower's name has the word boom in it. Which I'm realizing now, again, could also be related to Boom from SPD, and you could say it to his character, and he's showing up soon. You're gonna get Kelson. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, Kelson is returning. There have been photos that have been released. Mechanic is coming to Dino Fury, if you haven't seen that already. So now let's quickly talk about some things that I didn't dig. One of them was episode specific, one of them is Dino Fury specific. So let's go over episode specific. I've mentioned that I really like Ollie's character because I'm kind of like, I definitely consider logic in pretty much all decisions that I make, and I can relate to that character quite a bit. But I'm starting to think that Ollie's just kind of like a, I don't want to say he's a bad friend, but he's kind of rude. Like, if my friend was having a bad day, or even just doesn't agree with me on a specific or basic fundamental principle about what makes us us, I wouldn't in a very cruel way, taunt them about it when they're having a bad day. I just wouldn't do that. Friends don't do that. Don't get me wrong. Friends give each other crap, and it's playful, and that's okay. But I don't know, it just seemed almost like a little overboard. And the thing that bothered me most about it is not the fact that it happened, it's the fact that they didn't address it towards the end of the episode. I feel like Amelia grew, and Amelia learned something, and Ollie really didn't. Normally, you would think in a kid's show, there would be some type of point where Ollie maybe apologizes or, you know, just tries to set things right with his friend. You know, maybe just saying sorry at the end and realizing that he needs to be more accepting of people who have differing views than he does. So now the thing that's bothering me a little bit about Dino Fury in general is not really a bad thing about the show. It's a comparison to the source material. Bear with me. I know not everyone is a Super Sentai fan, but give me a sec. I've just come to the realization that I don't really like what they've done with Void Knight and who he actually was in Ryo Soldier, Geysorg. And the same thing goes for Boom Tower, who is Tangjo in Ryo Soldier. And really all I have to say about it is that they're just not as compelling and they're not as interesting. Like, we still don't really even know what Void Knight's intentions are with all of the Sporix. He wants to collect them, I'm guessing, to take over the world, which is, you know, not always the most compelling villain motivation. Boom Tower's like a joke in this. In Ryo Soldier, he's not one to mess with. Tangjo, like, whenever he shows up, you're like, oh man. It's not like that in this. When he shows up, when Boom Tower shows up now, it's just kind of like a joke. What is going on with Void Knight's armor? It's looking a little limp. It's okay, Void Knight. It happens to the best of us. And obviously, you know, on the different continents, they treat the tone of the show differently, and I get that. I just feel like the best way to say it is I think they're more cartoony. They're like cartoony villains, if that makes any sense. When it comes to the family members of the Dino Fury team, we have Ollie's mom, who's an archaeologist. We have Izzy and Javi's father, and he's a pretty, you know, he's a serious guy. He has his funny moments every once in a while. But then you have Amelia's Pop-Pop, and he's basically a cartoon. He's basically Popeye. I just thought the dynamic between her family and everyone else's, like, the dynamic was pretty large. Now, it's obvious since this is Amelia's episode, it's gonna show her Zord, but I was surprised that we didn't go directly into finding the Black Zord. I thought that, at least a few weeks ago, before this episode came out, I thought that they were gonna go directly into that, and they didn't. So let me know all your thoughts about Power Rangers Dino Fury, Episode 6, Superstition Strikes. Leave all your thoughts in the comments. If there's anything that I missed that's worth talking about, definitely let me know. I've already voiced who my favorite Ranger is so far at this point in time, which is Izzy. Who's your favorite Power Ranger, and has that changed as we've learned more about the Rangers? Let me know. Also, which Zord is your favorite? I'll say in Ryo Soldier, Tiramigo, which is the Tyrannosaurus champion Zord in this, he was my favorite, and I think it's because he's like an actual character and like runs around with them. We don't get that in this. I really wish that we did, but we don't get that. So the T-Rex like champion Zord is just not my favorite in this. Then again, I don't really have one. And if you like this video and you want to keep up with all my Ranger videos, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Also, don't forget to find me on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and Snapchat. And I'll see you guys in my next video. May the power protect you.